Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. We are so happy to have you with us. My name is Jared Messer, and here with my good friend Clint Bicknell, and we get to talk about worship music together. We have been playing music together, writing songs, leading worship for 30 some years at different churches. So it's really a pleasure for us to sit and talk together. We got together a month or so ago and thought, why don't we do this thing online and do what we do in front of the camera? So we're so glad that you decided to be with us. We don't know what we're going to talk about today. I just turned on the camera and said, let's just see what happens.
Let's see. Yeah. We'll wing it.
We'll wing it. Hey, that's what happens on stage. What? What'd you say?
Just like Sunday morning.
Just like Sunday morning. I've been in that spot before where stuff goes off the rails. You're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't we talk about this idea of worship of flow? I really like this idea of putting together a worship set. And we may have different ideas on this. I don't know. Creating a worship set, meaning a musical set or even a service for those of you who plan your whole service. Putting together a service or a set that flows, like that connects the dots. And there are different ideas of how this looks from from A to Z, or you connect this section and this section. So for those of you who plan your services, plan your music, sometimes it can feel like you got to really dial this thing in like a sitcom episode or something. Everything's got to fit and the pieces got to go together. So maybe we talk about that. Is that all right?
Yeah. That's great.
If it's a short episode and we figure all this out, we'll move on to something else.
I don't know. We'll play chess or something.
Oh, yeah, really. Now, what have you guys, in the past, you guys were responsible for planning the sets, or did you work with Jason, or how did you guys do it?
Early on, Jason and I kind of tag team it. He eventually went on to become an executive pastor and left those responsibilities for me to pick up. And I think just thinking through that, because we did not discuss this earlier, so I'm thinking it through in my head. But I think the first thing that comes to mind as far as trying to plan a flow, or what you would consider a good flow, is we talked a little bit last week about, I think I'd said that I quit trying to plan around the teaching and tried to plan moments and those kind of things. If you missed that, go back and watch it.
Or we'll just say it again.
Or we'll just say, well, no, I'm not going to go into all of that. But the thing that I did do that I as part of that I didn't mention last week was the one thing that I made sure I did was I got up with our lead pastor and I just said, hey, I said, give me one thing. What's the main thing you want people to walk away with this week? And then I would take that thought, whatever it was, I would take that thought and then start mulling it over. Okay, and it doesn't have to be music. Obviously there's going to be music that may be able to drive that point home. There may be a creative video that would do better. There may be, hey, let's grab a camera and interview a couple people.
That's cool.
To give, testimony, or just to speak to maybe that thing that he's trying to hone in on for that week to help drive that home. So, it doesn't have to be music. It doesn't have to be, it could be anything. It could be video. It could be, a recorded interview. It could be pulling somebody up on stage to have them speak about how they walked that through. Tim did several times. He did a thing where he kind of interviewed somebody on stage that maybe was walking through that. So it was a real live conversation back and forth. He would prompt with questions and they would just kind of talk about their experience or maybe what they learned. So I think there's the thing I love about that is just get creative. That seems to be the theme of our podcast is, do it your way.
Yeah.
It's
right.
There's so many options. It doesn't have to just be music. You can do whatever you want. But I think it is key to have some, as much as I said, I never tried to plan, or I quit planning by, the sermon notes. I think it is very important, at least understand where your pastor's going.
Yeah.
and then try to build around that.
For sure.
So
now I remember way back in the old days, back in the set it up in the gym, take it down days.
Oh man. Yeah.
Where I believe you guys had a cohesive thread that would run from the opening song all the way through a drama, all the way through an offering, into the sermon, into the closing song, and then out. Right. And it all kind of fit together. And some places do that. And in our church, when I led, I had a cohesiveness to the music portion. And then at the end, we had kind of a launching off point that leaned into the message. So the music kind of fit together and then went the other way. Now, did you have the freedom to just say, we're not doing the cohesive thread anymore? Or was that Tim that said, let's think about this?
I think it was probably a little, I'm sure it was a little bit of both. I think we both, I'm sure, realized that, while all that is good,
that is a very hard thing to do. It is so hard.
If you're doing that, I'm not telling you not to do that. I think it's an excellent way to do something. The downside of it is just so intensive.
It is.
It's just so hard. It's so much time invested. And I kind of landed, like I said, man, if I can hit that one point at the right moment.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're talking about, where you're just launching into the teaching or you're setting up the pastor or whatever it is, or that moment might come after the teaching and you drive it home with a song or something, before invitation or whatever. I think if you can do that, then I think you've done your job for the day.
For sure.
So we definitely moved away from that model.
Here's what happened with us. Invariably, because we would have meetings and stuff, invariably, in order to make it fit, we would have a song in there that wasn't a good song.
Yeah.
Because, the lyrics fit perfect.
Right.
Let's talk about this real quick. You can have really good, truthful lyrics and be a bad song.
Yeah.
We don't have to embrace because someone says something really truthful. It can be set to bad music. It can be set to a melody that nobody can sing. It can be in an odd chord progression that's just weird.
Yeah.
So you can have good lyrics. Sometimes people think, how can you say that about this song? Look at those lyrics. Well, that's half of it. Let's acknowledge the fact that the other half is bad.
Right.
So we would have, these lyrics are perfect, and we would cram these songs in there. I'd be like, I got to sing this song now, though. But the lyrics fit. And when we went away from that, we were able to kind of lean back. And I don't think anybody, when we went away from it, nobody started going, wait a minute, 10,000 Reasons doesn't fit in there. That doesn't fit with those other two songs. That's out of place. Nobody did that because they usually remember how the feeling of the beginning, they remember the ending, and they remember what leads into the message and the overall thing.
Right.
And if you're planning, we'll talk about the music part later, but if you're planning stuff that is Christ-centered, Christocentric, then that is the theme.
Right.
Technically, every Sunday is Easter Sunday.
Right.
Every Sunday we celebrate the resurrection and we share the gospel. So if you think about it from that perspective, if the songs are Christ-centered, you said it before, it's amazing how they just kind of, sometimes they just land right. Yeah. If the songs are Christ-centered, a lot of pastors are good at just picking that up and finding a thread. So we went away from it too.
Yeah.
And it was freeing. It was really
funny
freeing.
That you say that because Tim was, I know I'd keep coming around to Tim, but I'd led with the guy for 25 years.
Did you talk to him about coming on here?
Not yet. I'm going to have a chat
Jason,
with him though.
Let's try to get somebody on your next time. You want
next
to?
Week. We'll get either Tim or Jason on here.
Not that I'm not having just fun talking to you, but
the great thing about what you just said is, and that's something that I hadn't even thought about till just now, but when you plan, half of the story is on the pastor too. And Tim was so good, and I'm sure you've had pastors that they were so good that it wasn't planned, but he would hear or pick up something in a song would move him, and he would take that, latch onto it, and weed it through his teaching, and it became one of his points. He had a way of really driving that home to whatever he was trying to, the point he was trying to make. or that impact,
How did you guys plan? I know you may have another thought there. How did you guys plan? Did you and Tim get together? Did you think it through everything and said, Tim, here's what we're doing? Or did he give you the sermon and say, fit this in there? What did you
all
do?
of that?
Oh, yeah.
Over a period of 25 years, right? It changed and morphed quite a bit. Early on, we would get together and we would go on. And I think that's great, especially if you're new to your pastor and your pastor is new to you. I think absolutely spend as much time with him as you can, because you get to learn where his heart's at and how he thinks and how he interprets things. And you just learn so much from spending time with your pastor.
Absolutely. And there's a tone. Like, I know that part of building flow in a set is connecting things in a way that's emotionally similar. Like, you can't, if your pastor is coming up and he has a gentler, softer voice to come in, the music should lean kind of into that, so it doesn't feel like a letdown when he steps up. Big higher energy song leading into a mild, softer voice, a big strong voice, right? You can come in with something a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of it. Tim he's got a really powerful presence.
He does. And
welcome to the Timcast, by the way.
Yeah. What comes to mind is, you ever watch West Wing? You a West Wing fan? Yeah. Okay.
I've seen a couple long time ago.
So if you're a West Wing fan out there, these people will get this. There's a scene toward the end of the series where the new communications director comes in and he's trying to write speeches for the president. And he doesn't feel like he's hitting on what the president wants. And he turns and he just says something like, hey, it's, it takes time. There's a rhythm. You learn to know just, why he uses this word instead of this word, and why he likes his inflection here instead of here. It's the exact same thing with a pastor.
Yeah.
You just learn, you can almost plan for him without talking to him, because he's going to like it, or he's not going to like the way this feels or the way this moves, or those kind of things. So absolutely, if you're in a 1-2 year relationship with your pastor, man, spend every moment you can with him, just to get to know and learn how he likes to do things. And that's what we did. And then it quickly moved to, he would give me sermon notes and we didn't necessarily meet. And then that evolved into, and I think it was a lot of us building trust in him and him building trust in us to say, it finally got to a point to where, I just plan everything, and then he would just kind of review it like on a Monday before the up and coming.
Would he give you a sermon topic?
He would.
Yeah. And then you go.
Yeah. He'd give a sermon topic, and as part of that, like I said, later on, he would give me the topic and that one key point.
Right.
And then,
here's where I'm starting.
Just build around that.
And he was pretty organized. I had pastors that would plan out, 3 months. 3 months out, we'd know where they're going to be and what they're going to be telling. It was really, really helpful.
That's incredibly useful. And I know there's a lot of people out there. I mean, if you're one of these people, I feel for you that, it's week to week to week to week to week.
That's probably, I would guess that's more common.
Yeah, it probably is.
In a smaller church or a regular size. You might have 2 weeks. You might get 2 weeks out, but
that's so hard.
It depends. Sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
Now, I would say this, depending on what church you're leading at or what your band is like, you are going to be in a couple different categories, I would imagine. One, you've got a set, you've got an allotment. Someone says you have 15 minutes and you fill that with whatever you got. Other people are going to say, you're going to do 2 songs here. We're going to have this. You're going to get another song and you get a closing song.
Right.
Other people are going to say, you got to plan everything up to the sermon. Sometimes they do that. And so all of these different places. So let's talk for just a second about those people who have to put together a musical set, like just planning. They've got, 15 minutes. So they got to put, depending on what church you're in, that could be 1 song.
Yeah.
Or it could be 3. It could be 4, right? So let's say you're going to be 15 minutes. You're going to have something in between. What would you consider? And I have some stuff too. What would you consider to be important for that three? We'll say it's just a 3-song set that's going to lead before the offering. What would you consider to be key elements to think about when you're planning?
I think you answered it already. It's the Christ-centered focus.
Yeah.
You just can't. And I mean, and it sounds easy, or it sounds like the easy answer, but it's really, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And you've touched on that several times throughout these podcasts, is just, if you keep it Christ-centered, then most songs will work.
Yeah.
And even if the song is, and this is where I think that a lot of people get stuck, is as a leader, as a worship leader, you go up there and you plan and you sing these songs and you lead. But I think the most important part of a worship leader is the how they talk through a song, or how they set up a song, or how they end a song and talk through. There's more in, I think, coming out of the worship leader's mouth, speech wise, than there is vocally
what they say,
yeah. to lead in that,
yeah.
in that moment. And, Jason was phenomenal at that. He could really, it just seemed like everything he said was right. Yeah. And you've done that. You've been there. You've done that. You're awesome with that too. So I think that's a huge part of it. And I think past that, it's hard for me to even think. It's like, without doing it, without being in the moment, it's hard to think through those things. But I'm sure you got some.
Let me challenge you then. Here's the trick. Okay. This is good, because if we get down to into the bones a little bit, you can do 10,000 Reasons in the key of G.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to do, Holy Forever. It's in the key of C sharp. And then you're going to do, I don't know, Waymaker. It's in B flat. Okay. G, C sharp, B flat. Are we going to do those songs in those keys, you think?
Not if I had anything to do
with
it.
Right? No. We would have to come up with a slightly different. We might move that. We might get that G to D, right? So we'd be thinking about, we end on that 5, G end on that 5 or something, get back to that D. You could there's really 2 schools of thought: to make a smooth transition, or to have a pad play through in between, which is great. And then if you get from D, now you're going to go to B flat. That's a tricky one. Yeah. You can maybe pull that to A. So now you got G to D to A. So if I'm thinking practically just from a musical standpoint, part of creating flow for your team, especially if you have players, don't give them keys that are super hard to play. Yeah. Because what your guitar player is going to do is, when you give him G, and then and you're a piano player, so I love C sharp or D flat. Love it. Yeah. But you hand D flat or C sharp to a guitar player, he's putting the capo on.
They're moving the capo.
So he's got to get a different chord chart. He's got to have time to put that capo on. So if you want, for example, if you got a guitar song starting with the capo on, to create flow, this is one of the elements to consider. To create flow, you have to have something that covers that space before the guitar player is ready. So a nice pad, or consider putting the 3rd song second, which is a piano song, and then putting another song last. And if they all have a Christ-focused message, they're gonna work together. Yeah. So I really think it's important to think about the key signatures of the songs. So when you put together a set, how conscious of you were, maybe you weren't, but how conscious of you were the key signatures of each song when you planned?
Later on, I was very conscious of it.
Yeah.
And even to the point of, depending on whether, because another thing that plays into key signature is, okay, do I have a male leading this song, or a female leading this song? Right. Because that'll help you arrange to the right order to kind of make that flow easier. Yeah. And I learned that the hard way. We spent way too much time in rehearsal figuring out, okay, we want to do a transition. Like, it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know why I had it in my head that the music could never stop.
Right.
So whatever I played, if I'm going from G to D, I would figure out some
Let me get you.
round pattern to get there. And then I'd have to teach that to the band and then get rolling. It was just a huge waste of
2
time.
of the new, 5 of the new song.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a huge waste of time. So obviously, for sure, figure out, playing a little bit ahead. Now, what's awesome for guys like, I mean, if you're a leader and you're also playing a lead instrument, like I led on guitar for a lot, you led on piano, you can cover those transitions and nobody else has to do anything.
Yep.
Like with a pad or a turnaround or, I could work it around and get it, and then people would just fall in behind me. So it's a little easier when you're the leader and you're playing one of the, the lead instruments.
It is. I was probably 60-40 rhythm guitar, probably.
Was you?
Yeah. But I would often have the piano. When I was playing piano, I could cover those easier.
Yeah, right.
And then having a pad of some kind underneath, huge. Yeah. And really, we talked about this musically. As you progress, you realize that you can, confidence embraces the space, lets things kind of breathe, and you can let it kind of come down and just sit for a minute and let everybody come along, establish the new key.
Right.
You can use scripture on the screen or scripture that's read, or have the leader say something appropriate that moves us to the next thing. And people are going to go along,
Yeah.
If it's thought through, for sure though. And then here's another thing. So creating flow with your musicians. One of the things that we would do, because a lot of players don't, they have to change sheets. Now you can just change your iPad screen, and some people do that pretty easily.
Yeah.
One of the ways you can create flow, and it's difficult, is having your players memorize the music. And if they can't memorize the music, I would have them memorize at least the page turn or the first part of the other song or something, so that if they're sharing, someone can turn and they can. But being able to memorize the music is huge. And not everybody can do that, but it helps to take the pressure off when you're playing if you can memorize it.
And my thing with that, and I had some players that actually quit, quit the team. And I looking back, I may have been maybe a little too hard on this aspect of it, but I always ran the team as, charts are welcome in rehearsal night, but there's no charts on Sunday. And just because I felt like not only does it just, if everybody knows the song, you can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want.
Yeah.
And there's no whatever, there's no guessing. But it also, for me, I felt like it just freed the players up so much to just enjoy the moment, because you're not following a chart and you're not having to worry about turning the page, and you're not really worried about, this or that, or all these distractions. I felt like the charts and the music stand and all that stuff was a little more of a distraction to the players. Now, there's a level of talent that can do that.
That's right.
There's a level of talent that can. I understand that not every church is going to have that. Over a period of time, we were lucky enough to get some really talented people. And, I mean, if they can, play out in their local band, they're memorizing all those songs, right?
Yeah,
they can memorize these.
That's right. That's right.
And I understand too that it's hard, because in a lot of places you're doing 3-4 new songs every week. For a lot of people, if they haven't been on the team in a while, they're learning 4 new songs every week. That can be hard. So, there's a balance there, but I definitely think there's a benefit to if you can get that far along. I think it's a huge benefit. Just in the whole cohesiveness of everybody, and it frees you up to go and do whatever.
For sure.
You were talking about I don't think you use this word, but when you think about flow and you think about putting stuff together, we always called them elements. You know, a song's an element, a video's an element, or whatever.
Right.
Did you guys ever do scripture reading? And if you did, how and when did you do it?
Yeah.
You know, how did you approach it?
We did a lot of different things. One of the things that we would do is it would come on the screen and I would read it with no commentary, no added on, just read it. And it would flow into the next song or flow into another scripture or something. Yeah. We did some where they would read with us. Let's read this together. We did other parts where we would use, during musical interludes, we would put scripture on the screen. I would have I'd maybe have 3 or 4 in there that the slide people could choose that all fit, and they could just click on one and I'd just let it sit for a while, let that read. And then, there's still music's still playing. We click another verse and it's just a different Bible verse.
Right.
And the people could just see it. So the music is playing and it's fitting with the song. Nobody said anything.
Yeah.
And then we would come back to the singing.
Yeah. You said something interesting, and I got to ask you now. You were careful in your words to say no commentary.
Yeah.
Explain that, and why do you think? Because commentary can be dangerous.
Can be.
You know.
Yeah. By commentary, and this happens a lot. This just happened to us recently. We were at a church, and it's not bad, but when you read a verse, it's powerful. There's a tendency to tell everybody what that means to you or to talk about it.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's not intentional. You're tapping into a percentage of people out there that agree with you, that are in the same place. I was telling my daughter Ellie this. When you read a verse and then you talk about, so, you know, particular verse, and you say, and this means a lot to me because I had a really hard week. This happened and this happened, this happened and this happened. And I'm so thankful that I know that that's true. Okay. That's a good thought. You have just brought in a percentage of people who have that feeling, but there are other people that had an amazing week.
Yeah.
And now they're thinking about, instead of thinking about how blessed they've been this week, they're thinking about your week and how bad they feel for you.
So
but if I just read the verse and I just leave the verse, read it and let it simmer, when we start the song, they're not thinking about what I said. They're thinking about what God said.
Right.
And I think so you could sometimes you can add something that's perfect. Like you say something and say, now this is important because of this truth.
Right.
And that's what the sermon's about or whatever.
Right.
But sometimes we would do all different things. So when I say commentary, I mean, we don't need to add anything to it. Sometimes you just let the verse be the verse.
Oh, that's
and
great.
That's the point we take off. People think, oh, that's great. And then we sing, and then they fill in their response to that verse is whatever God is doing in their heart at that moment.
It's going to be different for every person.
And then
that's the way scripture works.
Yeah, exactly. God finds that person, says, see, and he says it to that person and that person and that person, and that person. Instead of everybody going, oh, feel bad for Jared. He had a tough week. Let's pray for him. I love him. Right now it's like, think about me. So that's just a small example. Yeah. I think you should share the things that you're dealing with your church for sure. And there's a place for that. It's fine.
Yeah. Sure.
But sometimes the verse is just enough. It's just enough. You know what I mean?
I think in that vein, when you're in those moments, you're right. I think there can be, I think they're few and far between, but there can be moments when you, let the church in on your struggle for the week or whatever. But
or the great thing. Yeah.
Or the great thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think those can be good moments, but I think more than that, if I was going to do any commentary at all, I would try to make sure that it was in line with, the vision of the church. Like if you can explain how this scripture impacts the vision that the pastor is pushing down to the people, or to the things that he's trying to teach them. Because, just like I do, that, there are periods in the church where the pastor is just trying to turn them around on something. Could be, I'll pick the obvious one. It could be tithing. It could be,
right.
People just don't really understand tithing. We got to turn them around on that. Or they don't really understand this culture of serving, where we're trying to turn them around on that, those kind of things. I think that's where commentary can be good, because now they're hearing it from the pastor, and they're hearing it from you as a leader, in the same perspective.
Yeah, that's good. And this fits with flow, because some of that connecting tissue can happen when you say something. Can we talk about some stuff that maybe we wouldn't, that could disrupt flow? What can we do in our planning in the moment to disrupt flow? And this leads into an interesting discussion, I think. Do you have anything that comes to mind? How about the top two?
Top two?
10. Probably have 10.
Yeah,
you think of anything?
10. I don't know. Most of the time, whenever I screwed something up, it was
that's the number one.
I have.
Don't mess it up.
Trust me, I have.
Me
just
too.
By either overreaching on something that we just never should have attempted, can be very disruptive. Or it could be a variety of things, but it usually was something that just came out of the angst of not being prepared. That's usually those kind of things. Now, obviously, if you're planning ahead and planning a little better than we did on some weeks, you're going to avoid those.
So you're talking about the dreaded train wreck?
The train wreck,
or what exact? Give me an example. Was it a song that was played? Like, what happened there? Or somebody got off or lost their wrong key or something?
Here's a good example.
So we're talking about mistakes now, as if
we're talking about mistakes.
These are Clint's.
These are my mistakes.
I'm not familiar with this concept of mistakes.
Here's the perfect example of, we talked about that guy that's doing too much, right?
Yeah.
There was a period where I was doing way too much. I was playing, leading. I was singing tenor. I was running the tracks, or the backing tracks, or the switching songs and doing different things.
It's the perfect storm. I got to start the song. I got to get the right patch. I got to get the right vocal.
There was a handful. It happened actually more than once, that I would get so focused on one thing that I would just completely start the song in the wrong key.
Man,
completely wrong key. Just had
you
my
always
mind,
take for granted the thing that you know.
Exactly.
Right.
And my mind would just go off. And this is funny. Over the period of the years, I started saving these little clips. We called it the ha ha Hall of Fame.
Oh, you have to send me one, so we'll put it at the end.
I'll have to send it to you. But it was stuff like, I would start the song in the wrong key. Jason would start singing, and the verse would be a little uncomfortable, but then he tries to hit that chorus, and it's just like, he's like in the stratosphere, man.
So let's clarify. You're in the right key. What about the band? Are they playing in the same key as you? Or was it just you playing?
No, I was in the wrong key. I started the song in the wrong key. Well, like I said, we had a pretty good band, and they would follow me.
Okay, Clint's an A.
Yeah, Clint's an A.
Do it.
I know this is supposed to be an E, but he's doing it in an A, so we're going to go to A. But those kind of things, we're just losing focus on just concentrating, trying to do too much.
So is that a planning thing? If you would take a little, or is it an overconfidence thing, or is it I want to make it great, so I'm going to put a bunch of stuff in here?
Yeah, I think it's just trying to do too much, in the vein of trying to make something what you think it should be, when really it just doesn't need to be all that. And also, again, I learned the hard way the value of handing stuff off and training up people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure what's your experience been?
The dreaded capo.
The capo?
I've done
Forgetting
that.
to move the capo?
Yeah. I've started a song on the wrong key on piano. I've done that.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. Yeah, capo on the slide one, it's capo 3 and I'm capo 2.
Yeah.
But my band
Oops.
did not adapt. So we just had that half off thing.
Well, and that's another great lesson, right? We talked about this, I think, 2 podcasts ago.
Yeah.
That moment where you just stop, call it out.
For sure.
Yeah,
and you know what I do then?
Just reset.
Here's what I did. For every chart, if it's in G, it says up at the top, capo 3, capo 2, capo 1. And I would memorize. I didn't use charts on Sundays, but I would memorize that thing and I would see it there.
Yeah.
Capo 1, capo 2. I would ask the band, hey, Tim, what key is this in? Hey, boom, go. I did it all the time. We would finish and I would turn to my drummer or I would turn to my keyboard player, B flat, capo 3, here we go in G.
Right.
So, ask before you fail. But planning and practicing those things and then knowing what they're gonna be is huge.
But your original question though about
what can disrupt flow?
What can disrupt flow?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of things.
Mistakes was a good one.
Mistakes is one.
And you gotta let yourself you gotta if there's a way to prevent that next time, do it. Sometimes you just mess up.
Yeah.
You gotta let that go. There's grace for that.
Yeah.
But analyze it, figure out how you can not do it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna add something new.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on that? Do you have anything specific?
How to mess up flow?
Yeah.
You can partly it's stuff that we've talked about on the positive side. You can create moments where the songs don't fit together musically. You can do intros that are too long.
Yeah.
You can start a song that's too loud, like too high. The key is just bad. People can't sing it.
Yeah.
Little things and those are planning things that you can do ahead of time. Just be conscious of how you enter into each song, because each song is kind of a new beginning in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that there's a connective. They connect, and acknowledge that in your planning that I need to consider. Like, I'm not just going to put songs together. I need to consider how these songs sing together, how I go from one to the other, if I'm just going to stop in the middle or if I'm going to continue with some kind of progression or change.
Right.
Am I going to let someone else take this other section? For those of you who play everything on your own, some people just play everything on their own. Just consider how you're going to get from one to the other. You can just end. That's totally fine. But don't try to, like you said, don't try to do too much. Don't try to make it too cutesy.
Yeah.
If you need to, just end the song, but have the next song be planned in a key that's going to sound favorable. Here's one small little thing. Don't do songs that are a half step lower than the one before it. It just feels like everything goes da na 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 na. It just feels like a letdown a little bit. Especially if you go from up tempo to a slow song, don't do a half step difference.
Yeah.
It just feels like it feels like the air's come out of the tire a little bit. And do be conscious of this, because we are not performers. This leads to another one. We talked about performance, right? And this is part of flow. And people say, why does it matter? Why does it have to be so planned? Why does it have to be perfect? Why is that? And it doesn't have to be, but acknowledge the fact that all of us have a line where performance matters. Even if you say churches shouldn't be a performance, you have a line where performance matters. And I always ask this question: would it be okay if the guitars played in one key and the singer sang in another key? No. Why? What does performance matter? It does, right? So there's a line. Would it be okay if we didn't use if we sang in the dark?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, no, that'd be dumb. Why? Well, why are we there? You there to watch the stage?
Right.
So those things do matter. So it just where you draw the line of performance. And for me, anything that causes the focus to come on you instead of the object of our worship is a disruption. If it's a mistake, that's okay. But if it's faulty, if it's bad planning, if you're choosing songs that are in a key that nobody can sing, if the tempos are all weird and nobody knows where to start, you don't start the songs together. You start the songs weird.
Yeah.
If the keys don't match, if there's awkward sounding stuff, all those little things, then they are performance issues because you want it to sound good.
Right.
But the reason why is so people don't get distracted.
Yeah.
So they can focus on what they're supposed to be doing, which is lifting their worship to God.
Right. Which in itself is, like it or not, people are looking at you. So, like you said, it should be good. I used to tell my guys and gals, we got to be at least as good, if not better, than what they're hearing at the karaoke bar on Saturday night or Friday night or whatever.
Right.
It has to be pleasing to the ear. It has to be enjoyable, which means it needs to be done well. But when you're serving that way and doing it with an excellence, that's a witness in itself to people to see you doing something really well and worshiping as you're doing it. I mean, that can be a witness in itself. So I'm a big believer. I always told my guys, we're not going to be perfect, but we're going to do it with excellence, and that was always kind of our standard. But I want to come back to something that you said, because I think it's incredibly important, and I don't think most people think about it. This idea of do the songs in keys people can sing them in, is a huge deal. I don't think people really understand how important that is, because you can be a great singer, and if your voice, I mean, every vocalist knows where their voice really smacks home,
right.
really gets the gusto going.
Yep.
And if you're a male singer and that's B flat for you, guess what? B flat's pretty high for most normal male guys walking in off the street, right? So drop it to A, drop it to G. Your voice is still going to sound good, but it's going to be more comfortable for the congregation, same thing. And you always, try to stay away from that awkward thing where if a female singer's leading, the male guys are either in the stratosphere or the basement. Same can happen for women if a male is leading. Do a little experimenting with that, and
for sure.
And you'll quickly learn, okay, where those keys are for your voice, and you just keep coming back to them.
And check the math. Do the math. These are not hidden things. You can look it up and find, okay, what's the typical male range? What's the typical female range? You can find a place where the girls can sing down and the guys can sing up. There's a sweet spot in there. Not all songs are going to fit there, but usually if it's if it's Phil Wickham, it's too high. It's just too high.
It's just going to be too high.
Some of them aren't, but a lot of them are just too high. Or the old Tomlin stuff is way too high.
Yeah. A lot of Tomlin stuff was too high.
Some of the, Chandler Moore, some of the, it just depends. So find a key that doesn't necessarily, not your perfect vehicle to shine, but a key that allows the church to engage. And that's so important. If you leave them behind, they're going to be glad to watch you perform, and they're going to love it.
They'll
they're going to say, "You're so good."
Shut the whole time.
Oh, he's so good. And you're going to wonder, why aren't they singing? Well, they can't. It's too high. They don't feel like they're needed. The church, they have to feel like they're needed. So part of the flow is to give the church space to feel needed. If you go to a concert, like, certain rock bands will set it up to where the people sing back and they just stop singing and they just blow them away because they're part of the experience. And that's a rock show for sure. When we're worshiping together, the congregation should never be watching. That's the opposite of what we want. If anything, you on stage should be watching. You should lay the groundwork and let the church just blow you away with the sound and just be there, right? You can do that too. So for sure, picking the right key. It's tricky. If it's not the right key for you, let somebody else, if you have that option, let somebody else sing it.
Somebody else do it.
Because they can sing it right. I always think, don't be Whitney Houston, be Bob Dylan.
Right.
If you're Whitney Houston, people are going, wow, that's great. If you're Bob Dylan, people go, oh, I like the feeling that I feel like I'm part of that.
I can sing along.
Yeah. Just make it singable that everybody can sing with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, one other thing I think is good for people, especially leaders that are doing a lot of that, you know, you led on piano, you led on acoustic, I led on acoustic and electric and for a lot of years. And I would encourage people, if you're the main leader and you're playing piano or you're strumming an acoustic guitar or something, I would say put it down as soon as possible, and free yourself up to, number one, it's one less thing you got to worry about, right?
Yeah.
If you can get people to, somebody else can play the piano. You don't have to play the piano. You can find somebody or guitar or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about flow, to me, what makes the flow is how the leader leads through it. And if you're worried about playing a piano or strumming a guitar, or if you're also the person running the tracks or giving the band cues or whatever it is, you're never going to get past that. That's about as much as one person can handle for 30 minutes or 25 minutes, whatever. You're focusing on the wrong thing. So I would just encourage them, put it down, man. Find a way to hand those things off so that you can stand before your people and really lead them. Because I've seen people do it both ways, and when they're not encumbered by all these other responsibilities, they're phenomenal in the way they lead, because now they have one thing to worry about.
Yeah, that's right.
That's leading these people into the presence of God. And every word matters. Words matter. What they say to people, how they lead them through it. They can think on the fly and walk through that moment because they're not distracted.
Yep.
So I would,
and that's a great point. And I'll tell you this, the courses that I teach at the Worship Music Academy, not a plug, I'm just tying this in. The courses that I teach are teaching people how to play, ideally for worship accompaniment. But what's weird is if you learn how to play the right way, it's super easy. Yeah. It's simple. Like when you're playing in G, these chord shapes, you're only moving 2 fingers usually.
Right.
And it's so easy. And what that allows you to do is sound. And pros do that because it allows them to focus on the singing or looking. Now there are consummate pros at all different levels, but to be able to play, if you have to be playing, if you're in that position, you don't have a lot of instruments, learn to play, watch how pros play and learn their chord shapes because they're simple shapes and they play things that are easy and they work on it really hard to make that not an issue anymore. You get past it so you don't think about it. Same thing on piano. For sure. I had certain shapes that I would use all the time. I could play just about anything and we would sing around it. And it made it so easy. I'd have to remember all these intricate runs. I memorized the introduction and these little fills, and then I was off.
Yeah. 1-5-1.
1-5-1. There you go. And then add your thirds in there sometimes, and minor sevens. And so part of that is for sure, if it's too much and you're like, I can't do this, find the way to get somebody else to come in and help you, even if they're a lesser ability. If they focus only on that and you focus only on the other part, you may be better than you do it by yourself. And if it's something that you're like, oh, I stress about this, and really it shouldn't be stressful. For me, Sunday morning was like the best. I loved it. It was the best part of my week.
Yeah.
To come and lead, and it was freeing and it was great. I loved it. So if you're in a place where you're dreading Sunday, think about
giving stuff away.
where you can offload or simplify or do less or do. Here's another thing. We'll talk about flow. Well, we have 49 minutes about flow. You guys did mostly original songs. How often? This is a great question. How often did you repeat a song, or what method? Did you have a particular method that you used to introduce a new song? Because one of the disruptors is when you want to put a new song in, sometimes it's it clunks the thing down because people are like, oh. The pastor used to say it's like a donkey looking at a new barn door. Like, It just, the whole thing kind of winds
Yeah.
down because nobody knows the song. What method did you use how often did you repeat songs? That's one. And then how did you introduce new songs? That might be two different questions for flow.
Yeah. From a repeat standpoint, well, let me start with when we introduce a new song first, I guess, because that obviously means repetition, right?
Yeah.
Because when you first do a song, you're going to do it on a Sunday, and we would typically, if it was a new song, we'd try to put it toward the front, and then we would usually come back to it towards the end.
Yeah.
Whether it was
do it twice the first day.
do it twice the first
Yeah,
day,
yeah, I like that.
or at least maybe come back to a couple choruses at the end or something just to kind of get it going. And if it was something that was really kind of on series for this the pastor doing a specific series, focus on stuff. If it was really on series, we'd bring it back at least 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks.
Yeah.
To just kind of really drive it in. Second and third week, we would typically only do it once. And then from there, just repetition in general. We did some because I think it bore out a more. You kind of learn what your people really like.
Yeah.
You don't want to do something to death, right?
Right.
But
Right.
and we were guilty of that too. But there are certain songs that you're going to do them once a month because they hit.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Your crowd loves it, and it means something to them, and you're going to do that for a period of time, and then that song you'll know when it's over, and that one will cycle out of the rotation, and you'll bring in a couple more. But we had so many songs, and everybody does nowadays. I mean, you can do a different song every week for 10 years, probably.
There's enough music out there.
There's enough music out there, but I think for me, it came back to, again, circling back to that theology and that lyrical content. When you approach the song that way, there's only so many that I would do, because some of them just lyrically, they just didn't feel right to me, or
right.
So
I was going to look up a stat. I'll do it later.
It was a trial and error for sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think we just, if you're going to do any repetition, just do the ones that you feel like the people get and that really, takes them someplace.
That's right.
Every week.
That's right. And don't feel bad if you have to pull one like, it's not really working. Well, after becoming a marketer and learning how to sell online, I realized that as a worship leader, one of the most important things I need to consider in all aspects of this. Now, certainly we need to be Christ-centered, but we need to consider the impact of our decisions on the congregation. The key that we choose, the songs that we choose, how that we sing them, the way the lights are, the way that we dress, the way that we talk, the way that we interact, the way the stage smells, all of those things. We need to consider how they impact the congregation, because any of those things can pull someone, can distract someone. And we're not trying to be perfect here, but we do want to create an environment where people aren't encumbered. They aren't hindered to worship. When we used to just to do song, we would, I kind of stumbled on this pattern, and we were doing all, other songs. We weren't doing any original songs. We would do a new song the first week usually as an opener toward the beginning. And I would never say, hey, I'm going to teach you a new song. We would just do it. And then we do it the next week as part of the music set, like the song.
Okay.
The third week, we would do it again as part of the set. And then I might say, hey, we did the song last week. We're going to do it again. And then we'd skip a week and I'd do it on the week after. So that's 1, 2, 3, 5,
right,
7. First week, second week, third week, fifth week, seventh week. And now it's in the rotation.
Right.
So by that time, and here's what's interesting when I can say consider the congregation. We as a team leader, a worship leader, I'm there every Sunday. Some people are there every Sunday.
Yeah.
But in today's world, they're not.
Most
So
aren't.
when you do it on the first week and you do it on the second week, there are people that are going to hear it for the first time on the third week. And there are going to be people who heard it on the second week who aren't there on the third week. And they hear it for the second time on the fourth week. Yeah. So if you do it 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, in that time frame, most of your church will hear it twice.
Right.
That's the idea.
Yeah, that's good.
And by doing it that way, you don't ever say, hey, it's a new song. Let's learn it together. Just do it. Just do the song. If it's a song they've heard on the radio or somewhere else, then it's a little easier hurdle.
Yeah.
And then that's one of the ways. So we treated it just like a song. It didn't clunk everything down. We just did it. And if they sang along, great. By the time we got to the third, fifth week, if it was really a powerful song, by the fifth week 5, the fourth performance, 1, 2, 3, the fourth singing of it, they were in. And then we knew by the time we got to 7, we got one. And if it didn't, none of those kind of ever picked up, it would fall into the rotation, but it would only be if it fit with a particular element. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for a way to introduce a new song, like how do we do this? 1 week at the very beginning, 2, 3 part of the set, 5 part of the set, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. And then you can just think primes. Hey, it's primes. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7.
There you go.
9, 11. No. That's what we used to do. And it kind of had a good effect that you would be able to tell then by the 7th time if people really sang it. And also it would help them learn it. And at my church in Nashville, we did the same 4 songs 4 weeks in a row for a while. It was really kind of cool. We did the same 4 songs for a month. It was, I thought, this is crazy. And at the end, like it's like this collective voice. And it's weird if you don't want to put a bad song in there, but 4 powerful, it was like really cool. And everybody would really sing at the end. And then after we started a new set, it was like, oh, we're starting a new song. Anyway, that was a different experiment. And it was great for a while. For me, it was super. By the 4th week, we were locked, man. We were locked in.
You said something a while ago that I don't know what kind of time we're at, but I think this is important to hit. We were talking about distractions or disruptions. Let me throw this one at you because I know we've all had it. Dress code.
Yeah. Creating flow, but by the way you dress.
Yeah, well, disrupting can be, and I know I'm sure you had it. We had it. You for whatever reason, and I'm not going to talk bad about anybody, but because they didn't feel like they were doing anything wrong, but their shirt might be a little too tight, or the pants a little too tight, or the skirt a little too short, or for the guys too. I mean, there's a certain level of dress code. You don't come in with your Van Halen t-shirt on. Although I'm a huge Van Halen fan, but I don't know if that needs to be on stage on Sunday morning. You know what I mean?
I would say no.
So I'm sure there's other people out there that are, have dealt or are dealing with people like that. And if you are, I would just say, don't beat around the bush. Don't hem haul around. Don't worry about anybody's feelings. Just pull those people aside and say, hey, look, this is not really acceptable on Sunday morning. And this is how we expect people to dress when they're on stage. And I mean, if that person, it's all about the heart, right? If they're open to being led, they're going to go, oh, they're going to be almost apologetic.
That's right.
Like they're going to be, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I didn't think about that. And then there's going to be the people that, they feel like you just attacked them for some reason. And that's not what you're doing as a leader. But it's important enough that if it happens, you got to work up some nerve to have those conversations. But I finally got to the point where I actually sent somebody home one Sunday morning because, whereas before I might have let it go. Oh, it's just this one time. I'll have a conversation with them later. But I think it's important, don't do that. Address it immediately.
For sure.
Deal with it. Move on.
One of the things you can do, and this comes to when you're bringing in new people, is to have a clear, it's not a dress code, but have a clear expectation of of what's considered appropriate.
Yeah.
Are holes in jeans okay? Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Do you have to have a collar? Is a collared shirt? Can you wear a t-shirt? What about logos? Right.
Yeah.
So we kind of had a no logo policy.
Yeah, we did
so
too.
You can't wear jerseys. Don't wear a jersey. No numbers, no logos, no words. Kind of that kind of philosophy. If you had and I actually love the fact that we had some people that wore a tie. Had some people wear a suit and tie. I had other people wear jeans and a t-shirt. Had other people wear a collared shirt with polos.
Mm-hmm.
Had girls wearing jeans, some wearing dress, some wearing nice like slacks, that kind of an outfit. Yeah. I love that because the reality is and this comes back to what I said about the congregation. Remember when you're on the stage, if you're leading and your team is behind you, you all need to represent what is appropriate for them to engage in worship. And if anything gets in the way of that, then it needs to be changed. If your whole church is filled with people who wear jeans and t-shirts, you shouldn't wear a suit and tie.
Right.
It would just be like, what I can't get past the tie. If your whole church wears suit and ties, you can't get up there in jeans with holes in them. It wouldn't fit. The culture of the church is such that now you can have a discussion about why do you dress this way? Why do you dress this way? But when you're leading, you need to put yourself in a position to lead your church in worship. And if you're dressed in a certain way, and that means being appropriate, what's appropriate? That doesn't mean you have to wear a suit. Doesn't mean you have to wear jeans. It means what's appropriate.
Yeah.
So I would say Van Halen is never appropriate for Sunday morning. Ozzy Osbourne, maybe. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm still in mourning.
Right. I know. It's so sad. It's sad. People talk about, it's so sad. It is sad. Anytime someone who has had an influence on people, Ozzy Osbourne passed away, it was last week, I guess. An influence on people, that makes me sad because someone at a high level like that, and you listen to that stuff when you're younger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we also it's sad because he never knew the truth.
That's the thing and I found myself landed in that spot a lot lately. There's a lot of these people that's passing. It's like, I just feel so bad that they never, in all of their life, the truth. Yeah. They probably had opportunities. I'm sure they had opportunities, but they didn't embrace the truth of who Christ was and to have that salvation experience. And the world just goes on like, Ozzy and Eddie are playing in heaven. I'm like, I don't think he is, and that's sad.
No,
that's
I don't
terrible.
Think so.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's a shame. We're
not ones to judge, but we want to come down on the side of grace and love. Right. So it is a sad thing. Well, hey, if you have ideas about the stuff we shared that you hate it, please be nice. Be nice. Be nice. Nice comments. Put some comments below, and we'd love to hear what you think. Give us some guidance on what we could talk about. We'd love to take off from what you guys value and what's important to you. And again, we want to make this a place of love and kindness. So share ideas and let's disagree and let's agree and let's come about this together because we're all working together to learn how to be better worshipers and honor Christ, not only on Sunday, but every day. Yeah.
Amen.
All right. Awesome, man. We are right at an hour. I think this was pretty good. I think there was a little bit of flow in the podcast.
Ooh, a little bit.
A little bit of flow. We didn't have
flow on the fly.
Didn't you? Flickety flow. We didn't even have a key change. It still works.
We didn't.
All right.
No capo needed.
No capo. That's the podcast title. No capo needed. All right. Anything else you want to add, man?
No, I'm good, brother.
Awesome. Hey, thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Please, if you would, like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get all the updates on our new videos. Until next time, we'll see you guys. God bless you.
See you guys.